Everyone's talking about how AI is going to replace entrepreneurs. And honestly, that might be the most expensive misunderstanding of our generation. Let's slow down for a second, because if you've been building something real, this conversation could save you from making a devastating strategic mistake. The real question isn't whether AI can do your job, it's whether you even understand what your job actually is. Because if you think entrepreneurship is about producing output, writing code, drafting decks, or running analyses, then sure, you might have a problem on your hands. Here's the brutal irony. The founders who are most afraid of AI are usually the ones who are already doing the wrong work. They were heads down in the weeds, confusing motion with direction. And now a tool has arrived that does motion better than any human ever could. Think of AI like a world-class sous chef who can execute any recipe flawlessly, at scale, without complaining, but who cannot decide what restaurant to open, who the customer is, or whether the neighborhood even wants fine dining right now. That decision, that judgment call, that's the whole game. We watched the early excitement around AI-powered startups surge like a tide in 2023 and 2024, with headlines screaming that founders were becoming obsolete almost overnight. But here we are, and the most successful operators aren't the ones who handed everything to the machine, they're the ones who got sharper about which problems were actually worth solving. The psychological whiplash is real though, isn't it? One week you're reading that a solo founder with AI tools can now do what a team of 20 used to do, and the next week you're watching yet another AI native startup fold because they built a brilliant solution to a problem nobody actually had. History keeps handing us this lesson and we keep leaving it on the table. The dot-com era gave us beautiful, scalable, technically flawless platforms that answered questions nobody was asking, and the graveyard of those companies is enormous and quiet and deeply instructive. The pattern isn't new. Powerful new tools arrive, everyone rushes to use the tool, and the winners turn out to be the people who use the tool to solve a real, painful, expensive human problem, not the people who are most impressed by the tool itself. AI fits perfectly into this cycle, and if you zoom out far enough, this is almost boringly predictable. The community of serious builders is converging on a clear consensus. AI raises the floor for execution dramatically, but it also raises the ceiling requirement for judgment proportionally. In other words, average execution is now commoditized, which means your edge has to live somewhere AI structurally cannot go. Let's kill a misconception right now, because it's costing people real money and real confidence. AI cannot be accountable. It cannot stand in a room full of angry investors, look them in the eye, own a bad call, and then lead the team through the wreckage to something better. That moment, that crucible, is entrepreneurship. The practical lesson from every major technology transition is disciplined, unemotional problem selection, not tool mastery. You place your bets on pain points that are urgent, that people will pay to solve, that have real distribution pathways. And then you use every available tool, including AI, to attack those bets with precision and speed. Don't swing for everything, and don't freeze up trying to be perfect. Size your experiments modestly. Stay in the game long enough to learn, and treat your judgment like a muscle that only gets built through repetition and honest feedback, not through delegation to a system that cannot feel consequences. At the end of the day, the discipline of choosing which problems matter and the courage to stay accountable when things go sideways is something no model weights and no inference engine can replicate or replace. Consistency in your decision-making process and the humility to keep refining your judgment is what compounds over time into something genuinely durable. The entrepreneurs who will win the next decade aren't the most AI fluent, they're the most reality fluent, the ones who stay closest to real human problems and real human stakes. And frankly, that's a comforting thought, because that skill was always yours to develop, and it still is. If you're ready to take that judgment and point it towards something tangible, whether that's real estate investing, getting contracting work done right, or finding the right lenders to back your next move, check out our links in the description below, and let's get you started.